Hello, everybody, and welcome, guests, radio listeners, and eventually YouTube viewers. This is Egben Biwan Monjimbo coming to you through Vosa World Radio, and I am very happy, very pleased to have a guest with me today who's going to talk about something that is extraordinary. That is not your usual, it's not the health thing this time. It's not your average thing. It's pretty special. So before I go on and say one more word, I'm going to turn things over to him and ask him to just introduce himself to our viewers and listeners. So who are you, sir?
My name is Arrey Obenson. I am a husband, I'm a father, I'm a lawyer by training, and I currently serve as the president and CEO of the International Institute of St. Louis. But I'm also the president and founder of a movement called AM CAMEROON.
Okay, that I am quite amazed by all that you have packed into the one person. That's a lot to be. That's a lot of things to be. And I specifically like the order in which you actually listed them. You went from the person, but sometimes we have our careers and our things, and we make them define us, whereas it should be the other way around, from who you are as a husband, and that coming on down to what we do, because that's essential. That's more essential. I like that. How the order in which you place them, they're all important, but the priorities are pretty well laid out based on what your answer has been. And I would say the reason you're here is tied to one of the last thing that you said, the I Am Cameroon thing, which you have described as a movement. But what exactly is it? It's a movement. What about? Because some people listen to this show from all over the world. Some may not even know what or where Cameroon is. I'd be surprised, but you never know. So just give us a brief background of what this is all about.
Yeah, I Am Cameroon is a movement whose mission is to inspire, educate, and engage Cameroonians to accept and assume responsibility for the development of the nation. That's our mission. This movement was born in 2013, and it was born as a result of what I had seen in my travels happening across Africa. In 2011, the Gaddafi regime had collapsed, and we were beginning to see a movement of extremists across Western Africa and moving up towards Central Africa. We saw the emergence of Boko Haram, and it dawned on me that Africa was going through a challenging situation where, because our countries were not governed in the direction that the majority of the population wanted, we had lost our sense of patriotism. We had lost our sense of ownership of the country. And everybody was just surviving, looking to survive for themselves. And that's a very, very, very dangerous, very potent situation for any community. So we started this movement just with the goal of helping Cameroonians be proud of something, that take ownership of something. And that's where the name I Am Cameroon came from. I am Cameroon. I am responsible for its challenges. I am the solution to its problems. It's each one of us. There is no country that is built without the citizens committing to its development. And that was the idea behind this movement. And it's really, I call it a movement because Cameroon has never really emphasized on a membership. I have traveled extensively around the country, engaging young people with this idea and just telling young people to take ownership of their communities, to be responsible for their communities without asking them to pay any membership, to belong, to have any affiliations. No, it's for every Cameroonian to embrace this philosophy and make it their philosophy. And use that philosophy to drive the decisions that they make, the actions that they take on a daily basis in putting the interest, treating the country as if it was theirs.
That is a shift, a huge mind shift, because I'm older than you. I grew up at the time when it was the government. You sat there, that you went to school, primary school, it was the government primary school that you probably went to. Even if you went to mission boarding schools, you really sat there and expected when you graduated to be employed by that government.
Right.
And then if anything went wrong, you blamed the government. If it went right, the government claimed took the kudos or the credit for it. But it was the government, the government, the government. At that time, we even had not too many enterprises. You had people, there was Kilo, Nanga. You could count them. The people who did Fotso, Victor, and Soheng, you counted the people who did those things on their own, the businessmen. We were not really into, okay, how can I do my own thing? How do I see? We saw the collective much more than we saw the individual. And if you spent or wasted any stuff, it didn't hurt you. You just said it was the government. You didn't feel it. It was the government. And since the government doesn't have a person's face on it, it did not hurt you if things didn't go quite well. That is what you've explained there is exactly what it should be. The whole principle of ask not what my country can do for you, but ask what you can do for your country kind of mentality, which we generally did not have. It is shifting and changing now. I see that there are many more entrepreneurs, many more people doing their own thing who would care that the atmosphere should be the right one, conducive for that kind of thing to even survive. So how has it been for you so far? Was it a movement that was embraced, this, what you said there, were people embracing it from the get-go and it's just going gung-ho, everything's fine? What was the reaction when you first started this whole thing?
Yeah, the movement, unbelievably, was the ideas. When we launched this movement in Douala, it was a full house. We had all of the media across Douala covering it. We launched it at the hotel. And there was so much energy around just the idea, because it was just an idea. And the response has been great. I would leave here and go to Cameroon, and I've had engagements on university campuses in Boya, in Douala, in Yaoundé. I've had engagements in Kumba, in Bafoussam, in Garoua. We kicked off just public conversations with primarily young people. We engaged over 10,000 young people over the years, to a point where and at some point we even ran into some challenges with the government, because people were wondering whether this thing was a
political party
movement, was it a political party, and all of that. And I at one point I was even invited to SED, which is the security, and I went there. They had called Kumba. They asked about how this movement was registered. I said registered in Kumba, and they called the SDO's office there, and they sent them a fax of our registration, a legal organization, not a political party. And and they clearly understood that we were doing what was right. I've met ministers, I've spoken to government officials, I've given them badges or pins with the movement, to the point where, and I don't know if this is related to my work with AM Cameroon, but I did try to travel to Cameroon in 2018, and I arrived at the airport in Douala, and I had them announce my name in the plane, and I go up to the front of the plane, and they tell me I'm not allowed to enter the country. My passport is given back to the pilot, and I had to fly back to Paris. They never explained to me what it was. They sent an apology after that, saying this must have been a mix-up. But I'm not, I was not shaken by that, because this is not for me. What I do, there's what people, I may want to say this, I spend most of my adult life traveling around the world. I've been lucky to visit 106 countries around the world. And I've done big projects in other countries. And for me, my life would not be complete if I wasn't doing something for my own
Your
country.
own country of origin.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And think about it. I studied in Cameroon. I'm a true product of Cameroon. I went to St. Joseph's College, Sase. I went to Bambili, and then I went to Yaoundé University. I say I went to the best schools in Cameroon. People can argue that, but at the time, those were the best schools in Cameroon. But that investment that my country made for me, that investment is what has taken me around the world doing work,
Exactly.
leading the country of Japan to implement an elaborate gender equality program that they never had.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought, for me, this is me giving back to the next generation of Cameroonians, and it's not about me. And
Right.
so I continued my work from a distance. And COVID came around. I mobilized the diaspora. I made connections with my friends in Japan. We sent 2 containers of hand sanitizers. We sent over $50,000 worth of those 2 containers were the biggest gift that the government of Cameroon received as a result of COVID. It was worth $250 million. And I think the next biggest gift was from UBA, worth $150 million. So we just leveraging the connections and friends I have around the world, I try to do what I can to support my own country. And I really don't need anything in return. At the end of the day, it's the satisfaction that I get.
That is awesome. That is what patriotism is supposed to be about. And sometimes people take, we tend to be creatures of habit, and we take things that are new, we're skeptical about them. Sometimes it takes the persistence that you're showing before somebody says, okay, he really is harmless. Instead is doing us a lot of good. And sometimes it takes that amount of time and patience on the part of the person who means to do well, to just keep at it, to just keep doing the right thing till finally and eventually it is recognized for what it is. Definitely an asset to the country and not anything to its detriment, much to the contrary. And what you just explained there is a wonderful concept, giving back. You see, sometimes when you go, you get, I feel that if somebody gets the kind of education you got, the kind of education I got, it's a good thing for you, but it's even more beneficial if you use what you got to give back so that somebody else benefits. Because I don't believe anybody got to any position of prominence, no matter what level you're talking about of prominence, for themselves. Yeah. It generally is a gift so that you can turn around and help other people who may not be as privileged. So if I could ask, now you talked specifically about PPE, the things that you gave during COVID and stuff, are there any other major things that you have done? And I've noticed too, that you talk about the youth. You have targeted the youth specifically, which is the most common sense thing ever, because they are the future. They're what, if you don't touch them, you don't reach them, you don't impress them at the very impressionable age that they are at, then you just lose a whole generation. You lose a country that way, because the mentality may not be the right one. So what specific programs besides what happened during COVID and this gift you mentioned have you got them engaged in? And I know where I'm going with this, because I know the one that particularly impressed me, that made me decide to find you and have you here. But if you don't mind, just you can walk us through a few of those projects that you've done.
So since COVID, when we started our initiative and when everything was locked down, we figured that we could use that lockdown time to start engaging with the young people in Cameroon. Mm-hmm. So what we've done is, for 3 years running, every other week, we have been organizing town halls or forums with young people in Cameroon. Wow. We focused on young entrepreneurs. We've identified young entrepreneurs from all over Cameroon, and particularly mostly in the English-speaking part of Cameroon, who are doing things, whether it's a young man who is producing bleach, which they call eau de javel in Cameroon, and a sub-industry, whether it's a lady that has been preparing and exporting snails from Cameroon, or whether it's a young man who does something called All Things Internet, This is an incredible case. This gentleman was using text messaging to help set up alarms in cars to prevent car theft.
Yes. Wow.
We have based on our network, we've connected this Bruno Zoo to, he's now in 14 countries across Africa. I found him, we connected him with another group that they are now partners. I have attended one of their board meetings, and I was very proud to see a Cameroonian sitting in a multinational board meeting. And just as a result of conversation,
all of this stuff, yes,
we've showcased young entrepreneur that's making shoes out of leather in Douala, that are making bags. We've spent a lot of time on agriculture and trying to train people on the need for us to focus on agriculture. We partnered with Green Ventures in Cameroon to promote greenhouses, and many people living in the diaspora through those engagements now have greenhouses for their families back in Cameroon. And we're actually having young people being trained to set up and build greenhouses. We've focused on data, teaching people the need for us to start collecting data in Cameroon, and how even a farmer needed to start collecting data because that was important for development. We focused on how to access international financing, and brought together, created opportunities for people to access international financing, brought in experts from IBN to run some competitions in Cameroon to help
the talents, to get the crop of people.
Yeah, so
because it's there, that talent is there.
Yeah, and out of all of these conversations, we learned a lot. We thought that we were going to be educating the young people of Cameroon. I think for me and our group, we learned a lot about the young people of Cameroon. That whilst our generation is so focused on the past, this generation is so focused on their future. Because their future lies ahead of them, and that future has to be defined by them, by the decisions that they make today. Unlike in our time, some of us, our paths were charted for us, and all we had to do was
just walk along and follow along.
Yes, but for them, that path is not charted. They have to chart the path themselves. And so we started trying to think about how, and we didn't only do that, we did, last 3 years, we've been doing award ceremonies to recognize young people that are outstanding, that have been outstanding, and we give them an award. In some cases, we even provide financial support to them. We realized that the young people in Cameroon didn't ask us for money. Very interesting. Most of the time when we ask, how can we help? They said, we need expertise. We need connections. We really don't need your money, because that money will not take us far. What will take us far is technology, is expertise, is advice that will help us grow.
Correct. They're looking for long-term, a little short-term fix. Just you fix it right now, and then when you leave and you go back, then that's the end of it. As opposed to what you said there, you open the doors. They just need doors open for them. They're willing to walk through them and do the work it takes. That is very, very impressive to hear, because you see, the impression the rest of us have is that they're just out there, because not that there's not anything, that the downside doesn't exist, but that's what we hear more about. There's drugs, there's this, they're only into so and so thing, there's all that kind of stuff, and they paint a pretty bleak picture. That's what I'm hearing now is very, very impressive.
Yeah, and that, human nature is that we're animated by the negative, right? The drama effect of what is wrong, that we fail to see what is right. There's still so many good people and so many good things happening that we have to highlight those things. And there's a reason why we have to highlight those things, because if you can inspire one person, if that can become a role model for another person, that's how we multiply.
Exactly.
We multiply. The way we overcome darkness is to flood the zone with light. And so we focused on the good things that people are doing. We know that things are wrong. And here's one thing that we kept hearing, which would bring you to our conversation, is that for a period of time, every time we asked people about what was wrong, we thought people would say corruption.
Right.
We thought
bribery,
people would
corruption.
say, we thought people would say electricity. We thought people would say, all of those things are not right. But one theme that kept coming up was just how dirty the country was becoming. Because that affects everything. It affects health. It affects the quality of delivery of service. It affects everything. And so we've always...
Don't forget the flooding, because all of that debris and dirt is sitting there and clogging drainage and things, and then the entire rainy season. You pick up your cell phone in the morning. Oh, this is us at Bodaberry. Here we are at Bukwango. Here we are everywhere.
It was everywhere in the capital city as well as in the remote areas. And we've tried not to impose anything, and we asked the people of Cameroon, the young people that we engage with from time to time, and they kept on telling us this, and we said, we have to do something about it. And so that's how we developed this project.
Hold that thought right there, and let me go find the pictures that actually made me say, wow. Let me find at least some of them, because I saw a whole lot of them, and once I saw them, I went on looking for more, and I saw quite a few. But I think I should, this is going to be a good time to share the pictures I saw on Facebook, on your I Am Cameroon page. So I hope people know that there is one, and go check it out. So here we go. I think I'm sharing my screen, am I?
Yes, you are.
There it is. So there's all of this stuff right here, and I see people there with gloves picking up the trash, mostly plastic bottles. I see right here a huge but are these things provided by you, or they got them themselves? Can you see the huge net thing there that they've kept on suspended up with poles?
That's another controversy, because those are mosquito nets, but actually they are provided by a partner. We found a partner company called Eco Green that provides these nets for us, and we distributed these nets across the country. So that these nets could be used to collect
for this purpose. You know, when I talk to my daughter here, she makes fun of me and says, because I told her that about going to boarding school, because I went to Sika Baptist College, boarding school, and how one of the things that I consider a real huge benefit of going to that kind of school, a boarding school, was learning how to manage.
Yes.
That term, manage and make do. With this I thought this was plastic. It's now I'm realizing that it is being supported right here, there, and over there with sticks. So you can cut those. You know how out here they maybe design something sophisticated to go do, but they are making do with what they have. With this partner that supplied this, they put it up there, and it's getting the work done, though.
Yeah, and I'll explain how relevant this is,
right,
to the future of Cameroon. So yeah, we decided at I Am Cameroon, we developed a strategic plan. And in our strategic plan, one of the things that we had is to within 3 years of the strategic plan, to have engaged 5 million Cameroonians to do something for their country.
Wow.
And in our strategic plan, there are 3 pillars. And the first one is citizen empowerment.
Correct.
So how do we educate citizens, inspire them? Citizen empowerment is 1. 2 is creating economic opportunities for citizens in Cameroon. And the third one is leading social transformation. This project, which we did, which we were audacious and we said, this is our opportunity for us to touch 5 million people. Let us audaciously say we want to engage 5 million people to clean up Cameroon in one day. When
what date was this?
On one day, September 16th. September 16th is known as World Cleanup Day. It is the day set aside as World Cleanup Day. And World Cleanup Day was started by a group in Estonia. This group in Estonia had mobilized half of the country to clean up the country in one day in 2008. And they were able to clean up Estonia, and Estonia never went back to what it was with that one cleanup. And so I was instrumental in taking that idea from Estonia and spreading it around the world. And whilst I was working with Junior Chamber International, and that concept of World Cleanup Day has gone from Estonia to currently 147 countries around the world. So we were trying to implement this in Cameroon. And I've been a keynote speaker at one of their conferences in Estonia in 2008. So I leveraged my network and I called them to say, we want to do a cleanup in Cameroon. What we need resources. We need education. So what they did is, we have a group in Cameroon that's called Let's Do It Cameroon. That is part of our network. So maybe we should connect you with that. So they connected us with that. But they came to our forum. They brought somebody from Mozambique. Mozambique had mobilized about 5% of their country to clean up in one day. They brought somebody from Nigeria that they had done a massive cleanup in Lagos. So based on that, we thought it was possible.
It's been done someplace else. Why not?
Yes, and so we started a conversation with Let's Do It Cameroon, and we have a network of I Am Cameroon in Cameroon, and we formed an MOU.
Yes.
And then we decided to start trying to raise money for this project. But unfortunately, my sister, it's really very difficult to raise money from the diaspora to support anything in Cameroon.
That is not, it depends on that is not entertainment and that kind of a thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
People say, what is the government doing? Some people say, well, I'll not do anything if the name Cameroon is in it. Some people, everybody
all
has
kinds of reasons.
Everybody has their opinion, but we also found some people that were passionate and provided support. We hosted an event. We brought ex-Malaya to try to raise money. We lost $8,000 instead. But we never, I say you never lose heart, because the goal is that you have to keep going. And so we started, we pivoted and focused on the people in Cameroon. We convened a stakeholder meeting. We asked young people who have associations, organizations, community associations, Jangi groups, anybody who was interested to join.
Sign up.
We hosted a stakeholder meeting. We invited everybody to Yaoundé, paid for them to come to Yaoundé with the little money that we had, and provided lunch and food. And we basically asked them 3 questions. 1, do you think we can mobilize 5 million people to clean up Cameroon? If the answer is yes, we'll move on to the next question. And these young people said wholeheartedly yes. And then we said,
you're optimistic. And that is a wonderful thing to see and hear.
Yeah. Who will be responsible for this? Who will clean up, who will mobilize those people? And the answer had to be them, not us. We were in the diaspora, and they said they will do it. And then the 3rd question was, how are you going to do it? And they said, we will decentralize the effort. What they did which was not something that we planned, and I must give credit to the young people, is that they decided in that meeting to elect regional representatives.
Wow.
On their own. This again,
Yeah.
this was not, we didn't, they
That
decided
was
that
the idea. And
every region would have a regional representative, and all communications would be with the regional representative, and that regional representative will coordinate activities with
at their own
associations
level.
within the region.
Mhm.
And that was the plan. Once that event happened, we also engaged the media. We embarked on an extensive media campaign within Cameroon, radio, television, TV,
Written.
and that created so much awareness that the government took notice,
Right.
that the private sector took notice, and that actors in the recycling space also took notice.
Amazing.
At the end of the day, then volunteers also took notice. So we started recruiting volunteers, and we thought that we were going to have 5,000 volunteers. We ended up with about 16,000 volunteers.
Wow.
So we have a problem now because we didn't print enough volunteer t-shirts or enough volunteer jackets. That's our problem now.
That's a good problem to have.
It's a good problem to have. And we also had the participation of 5 ministries, but I must also highlight the Ministry of Urban Development, because that ministry really anchored it. They decided to write to all divisional officers, asking them to support this initiative.
The effort, yes.
Meaning that because when you're going to go out into the streets, you really want to ensure that the divisional officers and the governor's offices know about it. So they provided that support. We also found a company, this company called Green and another company called Red Plast, that came in and provided us with the support of these mosquito nets. They gave us 30,000 of them. Wow. And we distributed 11,000 of those mosquito nets across the country. We also then shipped materials like masks and all of those things, gloves. And gloves, so people could identify themselves when they're going out,
right?
But protect themselves and be able to collect this. We created a partnership with MTN, which is a mobile telephone company, and MTN agreed to send a text messages to its audience of 15 million people. Wow. 15 million people about the cleanup. So we were able to hit 15 million people with the message, asking and encouraging them to come out and clean up. We then in this, and all of this, most of this work was coordinated in partnership with Let's Do It Cameroon, and there's this incredible leader, a young woman who led this initiative across Cameroon. She essentially didn't sleep for a month, traveling across the country, mobilizing young people, and engaging.
Her name?
Her name is Maimuna Rayo Ganja. Maimuna Rayo Ganja. I talk to her almost every day now. But she engaged with the government, got the Ministry of Youth involved, got the governor's office in Douala to actually launch the campaign on the 13th. Went down to the Sultan's house in Fumban. She was all over the country.
That is one dynamic lady.
Yeah. Even some of the pictures that you showed are incredible, because that's in Bamenda, believe it or not.
Really?
Even with lockdown, we still engaged with the people who had called on the lockdown and asked for their support. And this is a common denominator.
That's
This
what
doesn't
I was going to is for the common good. We
common
all
good.
breathe the same air. There's no air that's being breathed
Yeah.
by this party or that other party or this region or the other thing. When the flooding comes, it's going to flood everybody everywhere and not go to specific homes.
So massive turnout in Damena. As far as Oku, we had participation in Oku across the country. So people responded to that. And what we had put in place and which we're continuing now, so these mosquito nets that have been filled with plastics, the young people leverage technology to do what they call geolocation.
Okay.
So if at the corner of a street, they have a bag there, they tag it, they take a picture and they put a tag which has the latitudes and whatever, but it's a science thing. So that they send it to this company, Eco Green. So Eco Green has all across the country where
exactly where
these nets are. And now they are going around collecting the nets. And then they are paying for the plastics, right?
Oh, wow.
And this money we're going to give back to the associations, all the groups that participated.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's the system.
Talk about motivation, incentive, encouragement in the right direction. Congratulations. Yes, I would say. I just don't want to take off my hair tie now because I cannot I cannot guarantee what's under that hair tie, but it's like really hats off to you, really.
And it doesn't end there, because our goal now is, how do we continue this?
Yes.
So the challenge with plastics is that you really have to collect large quantities. But we don't only have plastics, we have organic waste, right? So what happened is that we separated the plastics from the organic waste.
The triage.
And now we need to teach people what to do with that organic waste, right? Because we cannot just only go put them in landfills, because in Cameroon, we say that we have landfills, but they're not really landfills. You know, it's just a place where everybody goes and throws trash. But we need to figure out a way going forward about how people will do with this organic waste. We now, using these associations, because we have a company that has a system of picking up the plastics. What we intend to do with MTN is that we don't want people to take plastics out of their home. We're going to create we start with the major cities, Yaoundé, Douala, and some other big, we're looking at 15 cities. For people to have a number when you have plastics that get to a certain amount. So, and we would have certain days when we come down different parts of the city to pick plastics. All you have to do is text a number, you text something on MTN, and then when people come down the streets, they'll know where
where the pickup points are.
The pickup is. Yes. And then, because we'll be paying for the plastic, those groups that are picking up the groups, they'll actually be earning something. This is money that goes back to them. The more plastics they pick up, the more revenue they can.
Then consequently, the less waste.
And the less waste we have.
Because those things, plastics, they're not biodegradable, so they are not they would be a hazard if not well managed this way.
Absolutely.
That is such a neat plan. Why, just so well thought out, going all around and benefiting everybody. It has you would want to do it because you have something to gain from it. Then the environment benefits from it. Then everybody is so much the better for it. It's amazing. It's an amazing thing. These are the things that thrills some of us much more than I like the fashion and the music and everything. That's part of life and everything. But there are some things that we will not be free to enjoy. These are the things we're talking about if we really just deteriorate in the quality of life, which all this trash and stuff is a problem. There's one of the pictures I was about to show. I think I can go find it now and see if it's still there. This one right here, because this time in the other places they're picking it up from some kind of like from the bushes, but I see a source of this is water right here.
Yeah.
It's either a river or it is some kind of drainage place. So if all of this stuff is in there, you can't be sure.
This is Mulang. Anybody who knows Bamenda, this is behind Foncha's compound in Mulang.
Wow.
This is where this happened. This place, so Foncha has all of these fish ponds, used to have fish ponds, and the water always drained into this river.
Right.
They know now you can't fish there anymore.
Yeah.
The reason you can't fish there is because the entire river has been grinded to a halt because of plastics. So this group basically were on a mission to make this river flow again under that bridge that they're standing on.
Right.
And so they spend the day clearing up all of the plastics that had stopped the flow of water.
Right. And it's practically being done by hand, literally.
By hand. There's no machines. They're doing the triage themselves, removing it and passing it.
They're moving it with this little container that I see right here. This is a lady right here. I can see from those braids.
Yeah.
And with a knapsack on her back and stuff. I saw that. I couldn't locate the one that had the picture that I saw. Here's a gentleman right there. There's one that I had seen.
Yeah, that gentleman is
let me go back to him then.
Ito Anza, and you can see the amount of bags that they
right here. Yeah. Right here. Because you could see that when I first saw this picture, I thought it was just some boulders, some rocks that were just standing there on the thing. Before I took a closer look and I said, how many thousands of bottles are in this one, this other net? That is impressive. That is impressive.
And pulled out of a river.
Right, right. So how much more water is flowing by now, going, this is very impressive. My congratulations to them when you talk to them and email them or however you communicate with them. This is impressive. It really is. And it looks like that's the team right there.
That's the team. This team was called the Bamenda Central Team. Yeah.
Very proud of them. They've done something good. You could go to bed and sleep, shut both eyes and say, I did something that has made a difference.
And here's the amazing part. I don't know any of these people. I don't know whether I would ever meet them in my lifetime. I don't know whether I would ever shake their hand or I don't know what I would ever give them for what they have done for themselves. And they don't have any expectations of me as well.
Right.
But we connected and they did something even without thinking about who is asking them to do it.
What is in it for me?
What's in it?
What is in it for me in terms of like money. Remuneration? Because that's what we keep thinking. It has to be something money. Whereas there's a lot in it for them though.
Yes, yeah, absolutely.
But we tend to measure the benefits of any action we do sometimes in terms of dollars and cents and francs, whereas it's not always the case.
And I think even beyond just the cleaning of the environment, it is the mindset. Definitely. The mindset change, just one exercise like this could be transformational for a lifetime.
Very much so.
Because that girl that you saw with that bag on that rucksack, maybe she was onto something else on that Saturday morning. I don't know. But just stopping and doing that work, it communicates something to her brain that she has embraced a responsibility. And it's one that she will not let go back.
Correct.
She knows that from this point forward, I have a role to play.
Correct. And she's going to go back home or where she was going to eventually and say, guess what I did today?
Yeah.
And talk to somebody else. And that is how the whole, you call it a movement. That's what the movement is going to be about and carry momentum. So what can we do to help those of us listening or viewing? Because you said the diaspora wasn't quite that interested and kind of a thing, but maybe seeing this now, because they may just say, I don't think it's going to work. But seeing the results, if somebody's listening or watching and saying, I would like to be a part of this somehow. What are the opportunities for us to help financially, materially, how?
So we have seen a lot of interest in this project now because we've proven not only that it's possible for us to do something from the diaspora, but we've proven that the young people in Cameroon can be relied upon to do something constructive.
Right.
And today we're talking about garbage or trash or plastics. Tomorrow it could be something else.
Exactly.
But today, based on what we have done and what we've established and the network and the credibility of these young people, we could have sent money to them and they disappear and not done this project. We could have sent money and the money never reaches Bamenda because we sent it to Douala. You know, but they prove to us that this is something
trustworthy.
That so I know that people in the diaspora have concerns and have trepidations. And in many cases, we have feel that the government of Cameroon is not doing what it's supposed to do. And I don't disagree with that. But the most important thing, so people ask about sustainability, is this sustainable and all of that. But here's what I would say to people. And I said this to somebody. Every other day, every day, we wake up and we take a shower. Not because we think we're going to be clean forever, but because we're going to be clean for that day. And the next day we do the same. And the next day we do the same. I've also said that I don't ask of people what I know they cannot deliver. So to wait that government will do something that they have not done for 50 years is foolhardy.
Correct.
So I at this point, if government could do it, they would
Great
on it.
Yeah.
Since government cannot do it, we still have our brothers and our sisters, even if we're not related to them.
Right.
We come from the same country. That nature has made it that coincidence of nature that we come from this territory that has been called Cameroon. And the question that I'm asking the diaspora, for everything that Cameroon has given you, that Cameroon gave you in your youth, what have you given back to Cameroon?
Exactly.
I heard Alain Foucault ask this question, that say that the diaspora has been overrated because all we hear from the diaspora is complaint. But we've not seen one industry that the diaspora has created. We've not seen 10,000 jobs that the diaspora has created. We've not seen the diaspora bring in innovative and new technology as a diaspora. And here's an opportunity for us as a diaspora to do something that could be transformational for Cameroon. Our country needs a national waste management program.
It does.
That is going to not only be the collection and dumping of trash, but we can be creative, generate energy from organic waste, recycle plastics, and produce items that can be used, whether it's pavements, because now you can make road pavements out of plastic. We could do so many things. We could create, in my estimation, nearly 50,000 jobs for young people in Cameroon. And I say to people that if you created 10,000 jobs in the English-speaking part of Cameroon, 10,000 good-paying jobs, this crisis is over. If we could create 50,000 jobs across the country, with 5,000 at least being in each region of Cameroon,
Mhm.
we can change the trajectory of our country.
Mhm.
If 4 million Cameroonians in the diaspora, 4 million, just contributed $1 each, we would have $4 million. We would put a recycling processing plant in every region of Cameroon because it doesn't cost more than $100,000 to put one in place. If half of the people in the diaspora contributed just $1 each, it would still be $2 million.
Right.
And we could do the things that we could set up a solar energy plant in Cameroon. We could do so many things as the diaspora.
Right.
Here's also something very interesting. We all have 401ks, we have money in pension and retirement programs that are in the hands of people that we do not know.
Right.
We entrust the future of our lives in the hands of people that we do not know. But maybe for once we could trust our people as we trusted the young people in Cameroon
To deliver.
do something and deliver. And what if this is how, for those of us in the English, we could set up a new marketing board that will help our farmers in Cameroon. We have
And
the,
that's tough.
the
Yes. And that's
power to do it.
yes.
All we need is the vision to
Right.
drive
And
it,
the willingness, the
and
vision,
the willingness
which
to
which
do
which
it.
can have, and the willingness to do it, buy into the thing and do something. Because it's
Yeah.
one thing to complain from morning till night, but solutions are found that are there that are doable. And as you said, if it's $1 each, really, it comes to the point where if somebody's dollar fell down here, you're like, look, I'm maybe too tired to bend down and pick that thing and just let it just stay there. Maybe even if it's $1 bill, maybe imagine 4 quarters. If my four quarters just fell on down, you're like, maybe not.
Yeah.
I will just worry about. It's not a big loss that you should sit and roll on the floor and put your hands on your head and say you lost. And I know where they're coming from with this whole thing. You think, okay, there is a government, there is a so and so supposed to do. But I've had that same discussion with alumni associations. That's like, why does the CBC or the Cameroon Catholic Church or the so and so not do the things? Yes, they should. Yes, tuition has been paid and you expect them to do certain things. But if they don't, then do you just let everything go to waste? If they don't, do you just let everything go to waste? I gave the example, I remember, of saying, okay, sometimes you have in a home, there's been a split or division of labor, let me call it that way. Dad is supposed to pay the kids' tuition. I am supposed to stock the house with groceries. Okay, I've stocked the house with groceries. Dad has decided to be a Wayo man and not pay the kids' tuition. It's not that I don't have, I do have. So am I going to say the kids should sit here? It's Dad's job. If he's not going to pay, my children are going to stay here and be illiterate. Would you? True, you had divided the tasks up and that was supposed to be Dad's job. Or let me switch it around before they blame me for So let me say I'm the one who would renege on my own duties. Dad is there, he's paid the kids' tuition. But mommy is there and decided to do the wuru thing and has gone and bought a weave with the grocery money. Is he really going to sit down there and say, we don't eat in this house because it's mom's job to buy the groceries and she did not buy them? Mom should. That was her task given to her. But she doesn't. She did not. You do have the means to do it. I would say for the benefit, if you really think about the good of that family, you would do it. You would do it because you know how much is at stake and how much you stand to lose when you do not. Because you can be angry at the government all you want, angry at the CBC or the whoever it is, all you want, but it is your children. It is your relatives, your nephews, your nieces that are sitting there going without. The quality of life, and we want to go back. December comes, we want to go home to the place to go. We're going for, I don't know, weddings and things and stuff to that country still.
Yeah, to a beautiful country, to a clean country.
Right.
Yeah, and so people can go to our website, IamCameroon.org.
So let's say that one more time. What is it?
IamCameroon.org.
Correct.
And they can make a donation there. But what we also ask people, become a member of the group. Join us for our town halls. We're doing our next town hall on October 7th. And we're going to have the young people from Cameroon give us a report on how, they're going to give us a financial report, actually. They're going to give us a report on everything that they did.
Accountability.
Yes. So people can join and listen to them. We're also going to have our partners from Green and Red Plus talk about how this experience has transformed the way that they did business in Cameroon, because Green used to buy plastics from companies, and now we told them that, look, companies are not going to clean up the rivers. We are cleaning up the rivers and we're bringing our plastic to you. We're bringing, so suddenly they have seen a huge opportunity for growth in Cameroon. So let people find time to join some of these conversations. Let them bring their ideas to the table, because we don't only want your money. We want your ideas. We want you to participate. We want you to encourage a friend to participate in this. We want everybody. I really want people to own this thing. I don't want to be where I am Cameroon. I hope everybody can be. I hope everybody can take ownership of this idea, and let this idea not be about Arrey Obenson. Let it be about us. Let it be about each one of us playing our part in the development of Cameroon. That's what I want to see. I don't need any accolades. I don't need any titles. I just want people to be involved, for us to do something that changes the trajectory for millions of people in Cameroon. And we have that ability. And it doesn't stop with Cameroon. Because if we can do this in Cameroon, we can do this for Africa.
Right.
At a time where we're seeing the largest youthful population in the world in Africa now, our countries continue to grow while the rest of the world is declining in population. We have not scratched the surface in exploiting our resources, the potential that we have in Africa. This is a time where Africans must move away from blaming the West, or thinking that Russia would save them, or China would save them, or that religion would save them, and focus on each one of us playing our part. Because if we play that part, it would mean that I, a custom officer, will not take bribe, because by taking bribe, it's a light bulb that we don't put in school. It's medication that we don't put in a hospital. It's a hospital bed that the government doesn't get. Those are the things that we have to ensure that this young generation, when they get to position of leadership, they will not do the same things as our generation has done. Right. That they will put the country above self, and they will think about their contribution, that every decision that you're making, it affects the country, whether it's throwing a banana peel outside the window of a moving car, or taking bribe, or paying bribe, or all of these things have enormous impact on our country. And we have to decide, even us here in the diaspora, when we're going back home, we conform with everything that is happening here, and then suddenly when we get to Cameroon, we transform to that environment. No, it's a mindset. We have to train ourselves as Cameroonians and Africans to be proud of who we are. One, to take ownership of our challenges and be the solution to those challenges. Putting community first, country first, the continent first. I think that's what is needed at this time.
It is. It is much more than any palpable thing, any concrete thing that you can count and sit and say. Because if you start there and do that mind shift and get that mentality restructured and put the right things first, the other things tend to follow. The other things tend to fall into place once you've done that part. But we tend to think about let the tsunami is supposed to be this thing over here, and then we're able to trickle down. But you can start with you doing your own thing, and one other person, and telling one other person. I just really hope with this gospel, because it's a gospel. The gospel is supposed to be good news. I hope this gospel spreads, And then I guess each of us is supposed to take it as our responsibility to do the spreading. The same way we were commissioned, when we, the religious sense, commissioned to go out and be disciples and preach. Same thing. You just need to buy into it and think about the fact that it is depressing when you look at the things. But then if solutions are being profiled left, right, and center, explore it. At least give it a fair try, as opposed to, I know why you hear that talk. No, you don't want to hear it. Have you made the effort to see it happen? And what did you do to make it work? So if you're complaining next time, you know, possibly it could be my fault because I did not do anything to make it work. So I cannot now say things did not work and blame it on someone else. Who's the someone else? Which is where we go right around full circle and come back to what you have named your movement. I am Cameroon, not somebody else. Not pointing the accusing fingers left, right, and center when you have not done what it is that you could possibly do your own self. Not shrugging and throwing your hands up in the air. Because I've tended to be that. I'm like, you know how we say, somebody can't start. My goodness. You see this video, see that one, I'm like, oh my, but you start somewhere. Start somewhere, and this is a good place to start. So just remind us one more time of this event coming up in October, where we should try to get there and sign up and listen to the ideas and bring our own ideas. When is it happening? How do you register to attend to be part of it? Just remind us to close.
Yeah. So I encourage everybody to go to IamCameroon.org. And on IamCameroon.org, you can support the movement, you can donate to the movement, you can become a member. But you're also going to see our upcoming events. And our upcoming event is going to be tomorrow. We're going to start promoting our event on October 7th, Saturday, October 7th at 11 a.m. Eastern. We would be providing a report to our stakeholders about the cleanup that took place on September 16th.
All right, and so this is a call. This is going to be for people who are members of I Am Cameroon.
No, this is general public.
The general thing.
It's going to be a Zoom call. Anybody can join, and we would be promoting it on our Facebook page as well as on our website.
This time one has to shake skin.
Yes.
One has to shake skin and go and at least give it a fair chance to listen to what it is. I have listened and I am impressed. I cannot imagine anybody of goodwill who has listened to this and is not impressed. It's not a matter of what kind of affiliation, what kind of a thing, just the common good. The common good is what we're looking to do here. So I want to thank you really for taking the time to come and explain things better so that we get to know. I know there's a rule out there who already kind of heard it, like heard I Am Cameroon. I know the logo. If I saw the logo, I'd be, that's the I Am Cameroon logo right there. But what exactly is it about? And now people definitely who have listened to this or watched this do know. And if they want to find out more, go to the website. And you want to know even more, sign up to go ahead and actually attend and be part of the solution. And we don't need to be part of the grumbling part, but the solution side of things. It feels better and lighter that way to do that. You have a closing word or?
Well, I just want to thank you for doing this. Journalists, people who have platforms, you have the ability to transform the world. Too often we consume what is negative, but it's the positive things that has the ability to touch hearts and change minds.
Right.
I'll just always end with this quote. Too often we enjoy the comfort of opinion without the discomfort of thought. And this is JFK. Too often we enjoy the comfort of opinion without the discomfort of thought. It is the comfort of opinion that tells us that Cameroon will always be dirty, that there would always be corruption, that we cannot be better than we are. But the discomfort of thought tells us that, how did other people do it?
Exactly.
Those other people typically are human beings. One head, two hands and two legs. So we can do it. We
in doing this, you cited a bunch of, you got this idea from Estonia, you got this one from this other place, we got this one, and some of these things you're saying, to be very fair, we had semblances of them. In West Cameroon of the day, there was Kipling Beclean.
Yes.
The day was declared Kipling Beclean. You went on out there and did, and somehow it just got washed to the side. This generation of communists talking about the young ones don't even know that it existed.
It is possible.
It is.
Let's do this. Let's do this.
I'm with you on that. Let me be optimistic. But it even feels good to be optimistic than the depressing, oh dear, and that takes you nowhere. Just says somebody had to get fed up at some point in time and say, it cannot just be status quo. We have to change something. The whole Rosa Parks thing we're honoring, she just got fed up one day and said, I'm not getting up from my seat. I'm tired of this thing. I've had it. I'm going to sit here today. The one day, the day before, the other day before, she did as she was told. And then the one day came and she said, but why? I'm not getting up from this seat. I'm going to sit myself down here and then look at what he did. The one woman, the one person. Now we're saying, oh, Rosa Parks. She was just Rosa Parks, the little old lady, or maybe young at the time. The day before, she wasn't this person, this icon, became an icon because one day she just said, I'm not doing it again. I'm not doing the same old today. I've just had it. So maybe that's where we need to get to that point each and say, I'm done with this complaining. I'm done with this thing. Let me see what I can do to help. And each thing you do to help is something, like you said, one day at a time. If I cleaned up I recycled just this one day, it is still some plastic that I have gone and put away to recycle. That would not have been done, and it makes a difference. And if everybody did that, then that's how the whole thing spirals into a bigger movement. So thank you for spearheading a good thing. You say you don't want the accolades, you get them anyway. For going ahead and making other people think, and then act. Once you're done with the thinking, take action. So thank you so much for taking the precious time out to come and sit here and explain this. And we will do our best. And I'm counting. I will join the conference and see what it is I can do to help. And I'm pretty sure I'm not going to be the only one listening to this who would do that. So thank you so very much.
Looking forward to doing this again sometime when we have more development.
Trust me, anytime. I think like you that if you complain and say about all the rot that's out there, and social media is full of all kind of flighty things, but you are not putting any content out there that is positive. So what does a person who's going out there have as a choice of what to say? So if I go and I can listen to what Mr. Obenson has to say, then I can no longer say I had no clue there was any such thing. Now you do have content that is positive. So anytime that you need to come and have something put out there, count me in. I'll come and see. All it takes is to tie a tie and sit down here and have you do all the and tell us what is going on, how things are progressing any day. Trust me, we'll be glad to have you back.
I'll be looking forward to that. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. And thank you, viewers and listeners. Please do something. Do something about it. Don't just be listeners, be doers, like they say. Right.